I have no idea where I'm gonna go with this video. I guess I'm just gonna talk, and wherever it leads, it leads. So I was here, and my friend messaged me and be like, "Send me your resume." Right? I think um, there's a job opening, and I'm gonna send the resume to someone and see what happens. So of course, my resume is not up to date. I didn't Since I left my job, I was not really enthusiastic about doing interviews again because it's just, I don't know. It's like this. It's the same old stuff from 50 years ago. That is like there's just no. You never walk into an interview, and the interviewer does their homework. It's always the same lazy fucking questions, right? So I'm not really interested in like doing an interview. But anyways, I uh, went on the computer and updated my resume, sent it off, and within an hour or so, I got a call from a prospective employer to say, "Hey, I got your resume. When can you come in? Bring a physical copy along with a cover letter." And in my mind, I mean, because the person called me, I was kind of like taken aback. So I was like, okay, tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Of course, my hair is not done. My face is all, scruffy. So I'm thinking, shit, I gotta go. I gotta go to get my hair done, and I gotta go to the barber to get my face shaved and get a lineup and all of these things. And then I'm like, where the hell am I gonna get, like, where they printing stuff now? Like, nobody prints anymore, right? So of course I rushed, took a shower, head down to the salon. The girl that normally does my hair, she was leaving, and she's like, "Damn, you should have called. Can you do it tomorrow?" I'm like, "No, I have a business meeting tomorrow. I need to get it done now." So she asked another girl in the salon to do my hair, and then got the thing done. I called a friend of mine, and she's like, "Email me the resume." I emailed it to her. She printed it off and took it to me while I was at the salon, right? So, but I'm thinking, like, why the hell is this person asking me to bring in physical copies? So I called my friend. I'm like, this is a red flag for me, because, like, why didn't he just give me his email address to email him the cover letter or whatever the case might be? If it's a situation where you need to see me, because it would have been a front of the house position, I think I'll be interfacing with customers, and I assumed he wanted to make sure I wasn't like one of those bleach out face people. Like a Zoom call would have sufficed. You could see me on Zoom, see what I look like. If you're worried about the bleaching, I suspect maybe that was the thing, because I want to see you before you're invited to an interview, which has never happened before. Anyways, so got the resume printed off and the cover letter printed off, and the spirit was saying I should call and cancel, because I'm like, this doesn't, like, this is a red flag for me. Like, why am I bringing in a physical copy of my resume and application? That doesn't make any sense. It's 2026. We don't do paper anymore. I don't get any of my bills in the mail. They all come in my email inbox. Or you get a text message to say, this is your bill for the month, and it is due XYZ date. Anyways, if I'm talking weird, I bit my tongue, and so I need to gargle with some salt water. Anyway, so anyways, I went, and we had an interview, even though the guy said it was an interview, but he was asking me. I didn't dress for an interview, by the way, but we had an a quasi interview, if you want to call it, and he was asking me, like, the typical interview questions. Why did you leave your previous job? And in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck? Because, like, this is just rambling, right? This is just rambling. Like, because the thing is, we need some kind of reform in the employment space, because we cannot keep asking people these fucking stupid ass questions. Because there's no reasonable expectation of honesty when you ask me that question. It's one of two things happen. Either the company was shitty, I was a horrible employee and I was fired. Right? If the company did me dirty, I cannot come into the interview and tell you that, oh, this company was a horrible company, the working environment was toxic, and the managers were incompetent and unprofessional. I can't do that, even if that was the case, because you're going to then use that against me to say, well, you're speaking bad about the company, and so chances are, if you come here and anything happens, you're going to do the same thing. That's one. That's if the company is the guilty party. Number two, if I did some bullshit and I was fired, I'm not going to come in the interview to tell you that, oh, well, I was on some fuck shit and they fired me, because you're going to use that against me and I'm not going to get a job. So it now leaves me to make something up that sounds like a plausible reason as to why I left. And I'm not going to do that shit. So I told him I left because it was my time, and that's all there is to it. I'm not going to get into why I left, because I don't see where that is germane to the hiring decision. Because even if I did something bad, I would have paid for it by being fired. You can then now turn around and punish me again for something that I was already punished for. And if the company was a bad company, you don't need to know that. That is none of your business. And it should have no bearing on the hiring decision. So why are you asking me that question? Then he asked me, like, where do I see myself in 5 years? I'm like, have you not seen how this fucking world is running? We don't know if we're going to live to see tomorrow. Like, I ain't got no fucking plans. I don't, like, why are we asking people these questions? Where do you see yourself in 5? I don't fucking know. I'm not God. And I ain't got no goddamn plans. It does not matter. Because if you are worried about people leaving, treat them right, pay them well. Ain't nobody, I've never heard of anybody leave a good job unless them pussyclad sick. And it's kind of like, well, you know, you gotta go home and rest. You can't physically work anymore. People don't leave good jobs. They don't. So you don't need to worry about where I see myself in 5 years. Because whatever my plans are, plans change. Things happen. Nobody knows what the future holds. And I'm not going to come in here and tell you some stuff that you want to hear because it sounds good. And you can say, oh, well, you know, nice answer. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't know. I don't. And like the questions were just the standard interview questions. And I was like so over it, right? I mean, I wasn't like, I'm like, listen, I am not here to tell you what you want to hear. I am not here to give you the standard answers because anybody can do that. I am here to tell you what you can get from me. Even ask me, why do I want to come into this industry? I'm like, when I started in the hotel industry, I didn't know anything about hotel. When I became a payroll analyst, I didn't know anything about payroll. It's a white-collar job. As long as I am trainable, and if I have experience, I have transferable skills, that's it. I don't need to have experience in the industry to hold a job in the industry. Because it's a white-collar job, and unless it requires some real technical competency, anyone can do the job insofar as they are trainable. He asked me one of the other questions he asked was, what would you do like if you make a recommendation and let's say you make a recommendation to improve some process or whatever the case might be, and the company does not go along with it. Like the company is like, no, we're not doing that. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? There is nothing to do. If the company says, if I have a suggestion about how we can make the department more efficient or a process more efficient or whatever, and the company is like, we're not doing that, there is nothing I can do. Like, there's nothing to do. It's like, okay, fine, you made the suggestion and they turned it down. I'm like, in most cases, companies are not receptive to feedback. They'll tell you, oh, we welcome your feedback and, you know, it's a consultative process, because they're just going through the motion. They don't want to hear anything from you. I'm like, that is the reality of the situation. Nobody wants your suggestion. But they have to make it seem as if, okay, they're inclusive and it's a consultative process to give you the illusion that you have a say in the matter. But at the end of the day, in most cases, they have already decided what they're going to do. So your opinion on the matter is irrelevant. However, what I will do is, and it's like there's always, it doesn't matter how good your suggestion is, there's always pushback because people don't like to change, especially if it's a process they have been doing for years. And you know, I try to introduce a new way. To them, they will now have to learn this new way. And nobody wants to do that shit. It doesn't matter if it is faster and more efficient, you're going to meet with staunch opposition. Because nobody wants to hear your opinion. Right, but for me, of course, if it is something that I too am doing, and it is way more difficult to do it the way that we're doing, I'm not stopping until, I'm like, listen, we have to change this because me I do it. The fuck? Right? But I'm like, if they refuse, like, there's nothing that you can do. And he was asking about, like, the questions were just a standard interview question, but I was just so, like, removed from, like, what, there is no reasonable expectation that the person is good. I'm like, I'm not here to give you a performance. Like, for the most part, the interview is a performance. You're performing and I'm performing, and I'm not here to perform, because if the company is not a good company, you're gonna be like, oh, we're a family here and everything is all right, when you're lying. And if I'm a horrible person, I'm not gonna tell you that I'm a horrible person. I'm gonna tell you, I am a team player, and that's what people do. But at the end, I can tell you that this is how I show up when I come to work, and that's that. This is what you're getting. So I show up and I give 110%. Even if I am dissatisfied with the working arrangement, the salary, the whatever, I am not one of those persons who will like quiet quit, because that's a thing now where people will come and they do the bare minimum because they're disgruntled about something that is happening at work. Even if I am disgruntled, I still show up and do my job. And so I know people might say, well, that's stupid or whatever. And it's like, you don't understand, is the quality of your work is the reputation that you're leaving in that business. So when you move on, especially if you have been there, and you have to put them on your resume, you have to ensure that your work is stellar. No matter how them hate you, them can't say you never work good. When someone calls, they have to give you a good recommendation, even if they didn't like you, because you came and you did the job to the best of your ability. If you're not going to put them on the resume, then you can do whatever you want, because nobody's going to know that you work there anyway. But if you have to put that place on your resume, you need to ensure that you're doing the job to the best of your abilities. And that is how I show up. And, it was asking about, just the standard questions. And I was just not giving conventional answers, because it was asking me, so what about, he had something about work, as in the career goals. I mean, I have none. Like, I said, work is a means to an end. I am at a point in my life now where I don't have any aspirations to move up the corporate ladder or whatever. If I have a job, then that is something that I am choosing to do. And if it so happens that by virtue of me doing the job and the way I perform, I get a promotion, fine, sure, no problem. But work is a means to an end. I am working so I can enjoy the current standard of living that I have become accustomed to at this point. I am working because I want to, enjoy the trappings of modern life. Outside of that, I don't have any desire to work or any need to work. But when I come to work, I show up and I give my 110%. Because at the end of the day, we have this illusion that, we live in a meritocracy and hard work and whatever pays off. It doesn't. In the organization, if we lived in a meritocracy, I would be running a company right now. I would be. Because I have the qualification, I have the skill, I have the competency, and I show up with the right attitude. But that's not how it works. In the workplace, it's who for your kids, who you suck up to, who you and them have relations outside of work, who you go to the bar and the party with, and whatever. That's how, and those are the people who get promoted. The people who suck up to the people in power, your proximity to power, and who in the workplace basically have your back, who have the power to get you into the position that you want. So you could be the most competent, the most qualified, the most reliable, you put in the most hours, and guess what? The promotion comes and they pass over you because you do not fit in the power dynamics of the managerial hierarchy. God forbid you have integrity, because this is what people don't understand. Which company have you seen in the history of the world, or in all of your natural life, since you have been alive on this planet? Tell me one instance where a whistleblower came forward, reported some malfeasance or whatever, some bad things that the company that they're working for was doing, and they were rewarded by that company. Tell me one instance where anybody came forward, blew the whistle on a company that they were working. Well, first of all, if the company may have integrity, the person would have to blow the whistle anyway, because in most of those instances, the person was trying to get the matter resolved internally, and they were either fired, or because no one was paying attention to what they were saying, they resigned. And then they come out and they blow the whistle. And in none of the instances where we have whistleblowers were they praised. And in some cases, they mysteriously died. So let's keep it above. We don't live in a fucking meritocracy. We don't. So whatever aspirations I have, there is nothing I can do to be successful in the workplace that is going to allow me to keep my integrity and my dignity. Because what I know to do is I show up and I do my job to the best of my ability. I am reliable. I am punctual. I go and I get whatever skills and qualification that I need to do the job. I get those. What more must I do? But that is not enough. If you're not friends with the people and you're doing what, and you're their little lapdog or whatever, that's how you get promoted. It's not about the hard work that you're putting in, because more often than not, the people who work the hardest get punished by being stuck in that position, because the idea is that, well, you are the best at this, and if I promote you, no, I'm going to have to micromanage the person that is taking over from you. I can leave this whole task to you and not have to worry about it because you're so good. It makes my life easier and my job easier. So there is no incentive for me to promote you. And that's why sometimes, when people are like, oh, you're applying for this job but you don't have any experience. Yes, bitch, I have experience from my previous job. I just don't have the title, or I just never got the title or the recognition. There's a lot of people who are doing management work while not being given the title as a manager, or being paid as a manager. And even when you ask them, go find some excuse to tell you that, oh, well, you don't have the qualification, you don't have the experience, or you need more time or whatever, but you're still doing the work. That is the world that we live in. And it is something that is being perpetuated with just wanton abandon.